Thank you for coming. My name's Peter Miller. I'm a literary and film manager. I'm also a movie producer, and I also co-own a small publishing company called The Story Plant. And I'm honored to tell you that we've just secured the rights to Peter Leonard's work. Peter is the son of Elmore Leonard. They live 3 blocks from one another. Peter's, I think, 59, Elmore's 85, and they're actually in Chicago now promoting father and son books. And Peter's latest book, Voices of the Dead, has just been published by us and is doing very well. Our publishing company is predominantly a electronic publishing company, because what we're going to talk about today is the future. Because the world of publishing, as we may have grown up in it, we're all at least close to middle age, some of us are getting older, is completely changed. And the new model of publishing is emerging. I don't know whether you heard the news, I think it was yesterday or the day before, Barnes & Noble won't carry any books that Amazon Books publishes. Amazon Books hired a publishing veteran by the name of Larry Kirschbaum to run a new division of Amazon, which is publishing books. I've known Larry for many years. He's a classy publisher. And I think in 1997, he took Jeff Bezos, who's the chairman of Amazon, to a cocktail party celebrating the hiring of Jane Friedman to run HarperCollins way back when. And Jeff Bezos came along with him. I think he was a book salesman. Now Jeff is ruling the world, and these two behemoths of a company, Barnes & Noble versus Amazon, are at war. And they're at war basically because of what's happening in the technological revolution that's going on in the world of, I guess we'll call it the nano-digital delivery of content. Everybody, or not everybody, but I would say 30 million people have electronic readers that they use today. So what I'm going to talk about today, in some way to try and inspire you, is how you can win in the future. So I have a favorite saying: every obstacle becomes an opportunity for a solution. So now is your time to find solutions for the obstacle of getting published. The world of getting your first book published now is, and I don't mean to be in any way not inspire you, is probably tougher now than it's ever been in the history of publishing. It used to be a publisher would buy a novel, publish it in hardcover, maybe publish 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 copies, and hope to get some good reviews, build an audience, and then hope that they could bring the book out in paperback and maybe print 50,000 copies or 60,000 copies back then, and hope that it did well, and then do another book or 3 with the author and grow a brand. And then something called the trade paperback novel came in to being, because publishers realized that people didn't really want to spend $25 for a hardcover book. So maybe they try something at $11.95 or $12.95. It's probably now $14.95. And that became very popular. So you had 3 ways to essentially publish a book or a novel: hardcover, trade paperback, and mass market. And then the audiobook exploded. And now the electronic book has exploded. And now the new explosion is what's called the enhanced electronic book, whereby you can marry the images and perhaps video clips or music, drawings, graphs into the content, and have what might be called edutainment, an experience in reading on your iPad. I have a daughter. She's reading all of her books electronically now. And you don't have to carry, what's it called, scoliosis, when they carry the big scoliosis. The books that these kids have to carry, they just weigh a ton. So the startup cost on creating a textbook are expensive, because you still have to do the layout, typesetting, and design, and the graphics, and it has to be brilliant. but you don't have the physical plant cost. So the whole infrastructure of publishing is going to change. I would predict, and my numbers may be wrong, but 5 years from now, 50% of all books will be electronic. Could be sway one way or the other. And there are people running around saying electronic books is the death of the industry. Well, I mentioned Larry Kirschbaum earlier, and he's actually the future of the industry. So here we have a veteran publisher who loves good books, who loves good authors, who's trying to figure out what the modern world is going to be about. And then we have people like Amanda Hocking come along. Here's a young lady who couldn't get published at all, and before you know it, she wound up marketing her own ebook, and she got it right. And I think it was like December of 2009 or 2010, she sold 150,000 copies of her novel. And then in January, she sold 400,000 copies. So now she has a major multiple book deal with St. Martin's Press, a division of Macmillan. Amanda Hocking has got to be the hero, the heroine for all of us in this room, because she got rejected by everybody and said, screw them, I'm going to market my book myself. So it used to be that getting a book sold was 75% about how great the book was. And the people would run around in the publishing company and read the book and share it with their colleagues and wind up in an editorial meeting, usually they're weekly, and sit around the table and they'd say, oh, I love this book. So now it's not 75% about how good the book is. It's 75% about marketing the book and 25% about how good the book is, and the book still has to be great. So your roles as authors has become extremely more complicated, because not only do you have to write a great book, but you've got to figure out how to market it. Getting media for a first novel, and many of you are first-time novelists, is extremely difficult. So I'm going to try and give you a couple of tips as to what a platform means and why you all have to build platforms, even as novelists. It didn't used to be this way. It used to be that novelists had a certain literary cachet and respect, and it was really just about the power of the words and being able to escape into the story that the author was telling. But unfortunately now, this is big business. And we have behemoths like Barnes & Noble fighting with Amazon for the competition. I mean, this is warfare. This is technological corporate warfare. And it's not just the books that they're publishing, it's the technology that exists in the Kindle and in the Nook. And people swear by the Color Nook, people swear by the Kindle too. So basically, and Amazon is trying to lock you into only being able to use on your Kindle information that you buy through them. And once again, if I say something wrong, forgive me, I'm not a complete techno wizard in terms of the technology. I'm basically a deal maker. I love to get involved with developing intellectual properties with authors and champion their cause and go out and sell them. And it's become more difficult. So I'm diversifying. One of my clients just spent $30 million building a new infrastructure for the digital delivery of content. He's part of a $200 million company. They're foreign, but they recognize that the revolution that's taking place in the world is huge, and the people that own these portals that can deliver the content are going to grow. So a platform essentially exists of having a website, and then what good is a website if nobody goes to it? Then you have to figure out how to drive traffic to your website in order to make people aware of who you are, what you're doing. In addition to driving traffic there, you've got to establish some kind of popularity on the internet. So I think I read an email last night that one of my clients has access to 30,000 bloggers. If you can imagine, 30,000 bloggers. I never thought of there being that many bloggers in the world, but when you really think about the number of people on the internet every day, just in this country, 30,000 is nothing. Now, some of these bloggers, I think the most successful blog in America is Huffington Post. And one of my clients, I represent Oprah's veterinarian. You may have heard of her, actually, for you Chicagoans. Her name's Dr. Barbara Royal. Her book, which is called The Royal Treatment, is coming out, I think, in July. And when she came to New York, I think it was this past December, a year ago, and I took her around to publishers. We had, I think, 6 meetings. Everybody loved her because she's an holistic veterinarian. And the only reason I sold that book, really, other than the fact that she's great, is she's Oprah's vet. She's been on Oprah several times. And if Oprah says, hey, this is the veterinarian, so we sold it to Simon & Schuster. It's going to come out in June, July. If any of you have pets, please support your Chicago veterinarian. She's absolutely wonderful. She loves all animals. And she's building her platform and rebuilding her website to figure out how to drive traffic. So I'm going to give you all a little tip, and people get paid a lot of money to say things to people like this. So I'm going to coach you. When you bring your book out, no matter how you bring it out, as an ebook or as with a small publisher or a big publisher or whatever, you need to find as many blog-friendly people as you can to the subject matter that you're writing about. Now, you're substantially all writing about murder. And the competition, we're at Love is Murder conference here, is astronomical. How many murder novels have there been published in the universe? How many are going to be published? So your competition, now this gentleman's twist with the antiquities, that's an interesting twist because it brings in a lot of history. And I'm sure I could talk to each one of you about something special in your book that makes it unique, makes it stand out. And essentially, in order to promote your book, you may want to go to bloggers that are friendly to antiquities, such as the kind that you're writing about. What you need to do in terms of building your platform is everything humanly possible. There isn't enough. You've got to study what Amanda Hocking did, because it could be that you may not have the opportunity. You may not have the opportunity to get published unless you invent yourself. So thank you. I hope I've inspired you in some way.